Moto Z Play Review. Motorola's Moto X Play Review was an exceedingly good phone for its time, and today, Lenovo hopes to rekindle the excitement it generated with the Moto Z Play. The Moto Z series is the company's new flagship range, replacing the X series models, which were the frontrunners thus far. Although Lenovo claims that the Moto X series isn't dead, it's clear that the Moto Z is the new face of Lenovo's premium-tier smartphones. In that sense, the Moto Z Play can be considered a replacement to the Moto X Play, with the emphasis now being on the snap-on modules. We had a chance to play around with it at this year's IF exhibition, and now that it has been officially launched in India, let's see how it fares against the competition. The Moto Z Play isn't as slim as its sibling, the Moto Z, but in a way that's actually a good thing. Personally, we prefer a bit of heft in a smartphone as it feels a lot more secure when you hold it or have it in your pocket, but your mileage may vary. The thicker sides also mean it's easier to grip when you're typing or just generally holding it. However, we do have a niggle with the length of this phone, as it tends to peek out of most pockets. The phone also feels naked without its style shell back cover, and is a lot more slippery due to the glass back. Thankfully, one style shell is included with the phone. The Moto Z Play feels rugged thanks to the aluminum frame, and build quality is excellent. It's a far cry from the Moto X design, which we all loved, but it isn't bad at all. The buttons have good tactile response but end up feeling a bit too small to be comfortable. Lenovo has added ridges on the power button to help distinguish it from the others, but it would have been better to space them better, or use different sizes. The SIM tray sits on the top, and can accommodate 2 nano SIMs as well as a microSD card, up to 2 TB. There's a USB Type-C port and a 3.5mm headphone socket at the bottom. Around the back are the 16-megapixel camera, laser autofocus sensor, and dual-tone LED flash module. The protruding lens sits flush with the style shell if you use it, thereby helping protect it from scratches. There isn't any speaker grill because the earpiece doubles up as the loudspeaker. The 5.5-inch Full HD Super AMOLED display delivers vibrant colors and sharp text. Outdoor legibility is particularly good even under direct sunlight. We also had no issues with the touch response, which works flawlessly. There are on-screen buttons for Android UI navigation, and a fingerprint sensor just below the screen, which can be used for locking or unlocking the phone. The hit rate for recognition is good, although there were instances where it failed to detect our touches. In the box, you'll find a USB Type-C cable, 15 watts wall charger, headset, SIM ejector, and instruction leaflets. The headset quality is simply not up to the mark for such a premium smartphone, and we expected better. The Moto Z Play uses the same Qualcomm Snapdragon 625 SoC found in couple of Asus Zenfone models, including the Zenfone 3, ZE552KL, which we reviewed recently. We realize that you can get phones with flagship Snapdragon 820 SoCs for the same or less these days, but in the end, it's all about how the phone utilizes the power on hand more than just numbers. While this chip is nowhere near as powerful as Qualcomm's flagship offering in the Moto Z, it should be more than capable of handling most of the tasks you'd typically throw at it. The native octa-core chip has 8 ARM Cortex-A53 cores built on the efficient 14nm fabrication process. Along with 3 GB of RAM, the snappy performance can also be attributed towards the Moto Z Play's lean software. In terms of numbers, the Moto Z Play returned a respectable 61,777 points in Antutu, but the graphics processor is a bit weak. In GF's Bench T-Rex test, we got just 23 FPS, which is a bit low when you consider a phone like the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 managed 31 FPS. Gaming performance is still decent, as titles like Gods of Rome work pretty well. The rest of the specifications include 32 GB of storage, Bluetooth 4.0, dual-band Wi-Fi 802.11b/g/n, NFC, and USB OTG. 4G is supported on both SIM slots on band 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 13, and 40. There's no specific mention of VoLTE support. FM radio is missing, and so is Wi-Fi 802.11 GHz support, which is a bigger disappointment to us. Just like the Moto Z and every other Moto smartphone, Android is pleasant to use because there's no extraneous skin dragging it down. Multitasking is brisk, with no noticeable lag in the animations. On average, you always have about 1.1 GB of RAM free at your disposal. Android Marshmallow is pretty much how it looks on any Nexus phone with the exception of a few apps like Moto Mods and Moto. The latter lets you set up gesture-based actions as seen on previous offerings. Moto Actions lets you toggle hand gestures for triggering the camera, flashlight, etc. A swipe up from the bottom shrinks the screen to make it easier for one-handed use. Moto Display lets you glance at the time and notifications when the phone is in standby and you wave a hand over the display. This works well, although we found it a bit oversensitive at times, where the display would intermittently light up even without any stimulus. Finally, Moto Voice lets you invoke actions by summoning the voice assistant with a trained phrase.